we have something very special to show you. It's a major discovery that for the last 2,000 years has been lying buried beneath volcanic rock and ash. And you are going to be the first people to see this.
For 3,000 years, it was a secret kept by mud and water, a story of a lost community, buried beneath layers of volcanic rock and ash. A major discovery, sealed away from the world in a single, catastrophic moment. And tonight, you are going to be the first to see it. When archaeologists began excavating a remote quarry pit in Cambridgeshire, they expected to find the usual traces of the past. What they found instead was something that shouldn't exist. A Bronze Age settlement so perfectly preserved it would be called Britain's Pompeii. And a mystery so deep, it is rewriting everything we thought we knew about our ancient ancestors. Chris Wakefield, an archaeologist with the Cambridge Archaeological Unit, stood in the excavation trench, staring at timber that should have rotted away 2,850 years ago. The wood was charred, but preserved by the oxygen-starved wetlands. Every axe mark looked fresh, the grooves so sharp they caught the light, as if the carpenter had only just walked away. Bronze Age sites never look like this. Normally, an excavation offers mere shadows in the dirt where wooden posts once stood, a few pottery fragments, a pit of animal bones, if you're lucky. But what emerged from the peat of eastern England broke every rule. 4 complete roundhouses, their walls still standing, tools hanging exactly where their owners had left them, a wooden spoon resting in a bowl of half-eaten porridge. It was, as Wakefield called it, archaeological nirvana, a complete snapshot of daily life frozen in time. The 1.4 million pound excavation revealed a settlement of breathtaking sophistication. The community was built on stilts, its homes floating 6.5 feet above the riverbed. Each roundhouse was a marvel of Bronze Age engineering, with woven branch walls plastered with clay and a roof of reeds. The circular design distributed weight, shed rain, and maximized warmth. These weren't primitive huts. They were confident, carefully designed homes. And inside, archaeologists found a world of unexpected comfort and complexity. In one house, a pottery bowl held the remains of a wheat-grain porridge mixed with animal fat. Beside it, a wooden spoon. Someone was eating breakfast when disaster struck. They set down their spoon and never returned. Chemical analysis of other vessels revealed traces of honey mixed with deer meat, a prehistoric version of honey-glazed venison. These families weren't just surviving, they were seasoning their food, creating complex flavors nearly 3 millennia before modern recipes would rediscover the combination.
Perfectly preserved textiles, woven from flax linen, felt soft to the touch. Wooden boxes held their shape. And everywhere there was evidence of a world far more connected than anyone had imagined. A necklace found in the debris contained 49 glass beads. Chemical analysis traced their origin, not to Britain, but to Denmark and even Iran. Amber beads added golden accents. These weren't just decorations. They were proof that this small settlement on an English river was a node in a vast international trade network, exchanging goods across thousands of miles. A family living on stilts could acquire luxuries crafted in workshops halfway across the known world. But as the team pieced together this image of a thriving, advanced society, a shocking discovery turned the entire investigation on its head. Analysis of the site's waste layer, or rather the lack of it, revealed an astonishing timeline. The wood was still green. Insect life hadn't had time to establish itself. The conclusion was undeniable. This entire sophisticated settlement, from its sturdy foundations to its imported luxuries, had existed for less than a year. The timeline stunned the research team. How could a community build something so advanced so quickly? The answer forced them to rethink Bronze Age society itself. Bronze tools, axes, sickles, razors were found in every house, suggesting the metal was not a rare commodity for elites, but a common material for ordinary families. This was not a struggling frontier village. It was a thriving, mobile society, capable of establishing complete, comfortable households at will. They were masters of their environment. But something went catastrophically wrong. Sometime around 850 BC, in the heat of late summer, fire tore through the tightly packed houses. The heat was so intense that the heavy timber posts charred in minutes. Residents fled with only the clothes on their backs. The structures collapsed into the river below, where the cold, wet mud instantly smothered the flames. The same disaster that destroyed the settlement also preserved it. The oxygen-free silt created a perfect seal, preventing decay for nearly 3 millennia. The fire had created a time capsule. But as archaeologists looked closer, they realized this might not have been an accident. The first clue was the settlement's design. A defensive fence of sharpened posts, standing 6 feet tall, ringed the entire community. It was built to keep something or someone out. Then came the most chilling discovery of all. Near one of the roundhouses, archaeologists uncovered a stack of spears. Each shaft measured over 10 feet long, far too large for hunting. These were combat spears, finely balanced and designed for human conflict.
The Cambridge team brought in a forensic fire investigator to analyze the burn patterns. They were looking for the telltale signs of arson, accelerants, multiple points of origin, or evidence of structural sabotage, but they found none. There was no clear proof the fire was deliberate. And yet, the evidence of the escape is undeniable. No valuables were taken. The animals were left to die. The speed of the disaster suggests the residents fled in absolute terror. Why? If the fire was accidental, why did no one return? The foundations were still solid. They could have rebuilt. Instead, the site was abandoned forever. If these families could build so well and so fast, what terrified them enough to never come back? The presence of those combat weapons beside untouched homes made one thing clear. These people lived with fear. No human remains were found at the site, and none showed signs of trauma. There were no footprints of an invading force. And yet, the spears remained. Were they the weapons of the villagers, prepared for a coming conflict? Or were they dropped by the very attackers who set the blaze? Among the pottery, tools, and weapons, archaeologists found something that made the entire mystery personal: a human skull. It wasn't a burial. It was a keepsake, setting among everyday household items. Rendered smooth by centuries of handling, it was clearly a memento of a lost loved one, touched regularly by the living. That single object collapsed the distance of 2,850 years. Suddenly, this wasn't just a site of engineering brilliance or economic data. It was a home filled with people who loved, grieved, and remembered in ways we immediately recognize. The fingerprints in the clay, the spoon left mid-meal, the skull of a cherished ancestor, they transform our understanding. These were not primitive figures in the mists of time. They were organized, resourceful, and emotionally complex people. They had access to a world of trade, the skill to master their environment, and the capacity for deep personal connection. The excavation at Must Farm, Britain's Pompeii, has given science its greatest gift, a perfect snapshot of a lost world. But it leaves us with a haunting, unanswered question. The evidence points to a community living on a knife's edge, surrounded by a wall of sharpened stakes and armed for war. We may never know if the fire that destroyed them was an accident or an act of violence. Perhaps, in a moment of terror, a stray spark from a hearth did what no enemy had yet achieved. Or perhaps the spears tell the true story.
we are left with a chilling possibility that what was preserved in the mud of the fens wasn't just a village, it was the final, terrifying moment that peace in Bronze Age Britain was broken forever.